Men, a happy marriage is to your advantage. If you have a happy home, you will not leave work and go to a bar, a pub, a club. You will not on your way go spend time in a club drinking yourself to a state of stupor before going home. If you have a happy marriage, your creativity will be high, productivity will be high. Nothing destroys the creativity of a man like hostility in the family. Hard work does not destroy a man, it makes a man. The first thing a man should find is work, not wife. The dignity of a man finds expression in the workplace. Our pride is connected to be feeding a man, to be carrying a man that you are supposed to be helping to work. It's not help at all. You are hurting his future, and to come back at you. Happy is the man. Happy is the man who has a worded wife. What is the value of leaving wealth to children when the word is not in them? What is inheritance without heritage? Give your children heritage before you talk about inheritance. The absence of heritage will make children destroy inheritance. The reason you got what you got was not because you nagged. Somebody wanted to get rid of you. It doesn't matter how old, how exposed, how educated, how experienced you are. If nagging is your strategy, immaturity is your expression. Here is the call today. Stop nagging. You frustrate the people around you, particularly the man. There's nothing wrong for your wife to support you, but she's not assigned to carry you. Please, all women, hear what I said. The Bible says, I will make him a help meet. The woman is to be a help meet. She's not to be a carrier. The woman is not designed to carry a man. You can never carry a man and not cripple him. Hello, welcome to the Relationship Masterclass today. And today is going to be a little bit of a different masterclass because we're going to be having a masterclass with a bias towards couples. And what that means is that if you're single, this is a good opportunity for you to actually learn how to conduct yourself when you become married, so that you don't have to start learning when you get married. I think it's always wise to have what we call advanced knowledge. All right? The more you know, the better you flow. The more you know, the better you behave. The more you know, the better decisions you make. The more you know, the more better your marriage becomes. So please never forget, it's critical that you give attention to what we're going to be sharing today. So if you're single, married, whatever your status is, divorced, this may be a good time for you to look and say, hey, what went wrong in my previous marriage? Based on the things that I'm learning now, how do I conduct myself in my next relationship so that I don't have another breakup? Now, here's the game. It has been discovered that once you've had a divorce, the tendency to have a second divorce is usually 75%. And if you have a second one, the tendency that the third one will end up in a divorce is 50%. In essence, the more breakups you have, the likelihood of having more breakups always exists. So you want to make sure you mitigate all of that. You want to make sure that doesn't exist. And the only way to deal with that is to increase knowledge, practical knowledge, applicable knowledge, which is what we call the wisdom of God. So welcome to this masterclass, and I will encourage that if you have a friend who is married and you have a brother who is not yet married, whatever the situation is, why don't you reach out to them and tell them, hey, Pastor Sam is online now. They should stop watching the movies. They should stop playing the gambles and all of that. Let them learn something that will add value to their lives. I love you so very much. So I'm going to be sharing practical thoughts with you today. I'm going to be speaking on what I call it couples checklist. What we call the couples checklist 8.0. The couples checklist 8.0. I'm speaking about 8 foundational secrets of highly successful married couples. Yes, I'm going to be showing you 8 things to check in your marriage. You want to say, okay, yes, I'm going to be mentioning 8 things. You're going to check them and say, yeah, that is in our marriage. We're doing well there. You can, in fact, call yourself husband and wife. You can sit down beside each other, get a sheet of paper now. I'm going to be mentioning 8 things, and I will want you to score yourselves on separate sheets. Is that okay? What that means is that, husband, you are going to look at each of the things that I'm going to mention. Here's what you're going to do. I'd like you to watch this. If you can see this table, I want you to, on the left side of your paper, I want you to write items. All right? That means the things that I'm going to mention as the things you need to check. All right? You're going to write items. Then you're going to also have 2 tables to the right hand side. Okay? Now on one table, you're going to write me. On the other table, you write my wife. Now here's what we're going to do. As I mention the item that makes successful marriages to be successful, you will score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. All right? On a scale of 1 to 10, you're going to say, okay, based on my knowledge of how well I am doing, I score myself 8. All right? Based on how my wife is doing, I score my wife 9. Okay? You're going to do that for the 8 items I'm going to mention. In the end of our conversation today, what you are going to do is that you will swap your papers. So the husband will let the wife have papers. So your wife can now look at how you judge yourself on that subject, you will see how she judges you. Now listen, this is what we call feedback. This is not a time to be offended at each other. This is a time to honestly get good feedbacks from each other or one another concerning our marriage and our relationship. Oh, but what if I am not married? Okay, if you are not married, here's what you're going to do. You're just going to score yourself versus nobody. All right, you're going to write the item and you're going to say, when it comes to this item in my relationship with others, how do I score myself? In the end of the day, you want to look and say, of these 8 items, which one do I need to give at? You are strong at, you are already strong at. The ones you are weak at, you need to give attention to. Why? In marriage, the weakest area of your life is what will always cause problem. It is called acceptance. It has been discovered that highly successful marriages are marriages where the parties involved accept one another unconditionally. It is critical to remember what I've just said to you now. It has been discovered that highly successful marriages, they have something they constantly give their energies to. They give their energies to accepting one another. It's important to note that. Yes, it's critical to remember that highly successful marriages, they give their energies to accepting one another. What that means is that they give each other the unconditional right to be yourself. My goodness. Write that down. Highly successful couples give each other the unconditional rights to be themselves in the marriage, in the relationship. Now, if you are single, you need to check that in your life. Do you always allow people around you to be themselves? Or do you have this obsessive compulsive behavior that always wants to make people to conform to what you want them to be? Are you controlling? Are you the type that always want to control the narrative? You like to control everybody. You want everybody to look like you, be like you, talk like you, think like you, act like you. They lose their individuality by associating with you. Can I say that again? They lose their individuality by associating with you. Their right to self-expression, their right to self-determination, you rob them of it because you hate to lose control. Same thing with your children. They are not individuals. You have robbed them of their right to think. You've robbed them of their right to express themselves. So gradually what you have done is that you have successfully cloned the people around you to be like you. There is nothing wrong with teaching people what you know, but there is something wrong with turning them into who you are. Variety is the spice of life. God likes variety. The God that we serve is a God who is obsessed with variety. Similarity does not impress God. He created everything different. If you look at the fish in the ocean, even sharks don't look alike. Not all sharks are alike. Even the whales. If you look at the monkeys and the baboons, and you look at the gorillas and all of that, you find difference. Our God is obsessed with difference. He made one Adam and one Eve, but out of them came variety. Our God is obsessed with variety. Blessed is your family if variety is allowed to find expression. For your home will look like the coat of many colors of Joseph. There is nothing on earth that creates boredom in a family like similarity. It is therefore critical that you begin to give your attention to one major thing that makes successful marriages to be successful, which is acceptance. Okay? I gave a practical example in a very jovial way. I said my wife had better learn to accept me, which she had done over 19 years ago. She looked at me and she know that I'm not a tall 6'4". No, I'm a brief guy. I'm a brief guy, you know. Yes, I'm a brief guy, and and God made me so, and honestly, amazingly so. And looking back now, I just realized that I have not missed anything by being brief. You know, there's nothing I have wanted to accomplish in my life that requires height. Nothing. There is nothing I had always wanted to accomplish in my life that requires height. So it would have been useless for me to be desiring to grow tall, to be 6 foot, because there's nothing. I'm not a basketball player. My destiny had nothing to do with basketball. And imagine me as a public speaker who is 6'4". Now, first of all, it's going to be intimidating to people. When I come to the stage, they have to adjust the pulpit. The people have to raise their... No, come on. Listen, hey, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and I'm glad that I'm just who I am. I love me. I tell you, I just love me. I'm in love with me. Okay? If that sends anger your way, I honestly don't know what to do to help you. But I love me. So, the first thing my wife did was to accept me. The worst thing that would have happened to my wife is for my wife to be doing anything to want to see to it that I grow tall. Such will not make our marriage to be effective. So acceptance is different from approval. You can accept a person without approving their behaviors. So don't mix both and say, does that mean I should just let her do whatever she want to do, let him do whatever he want to do? Listen, accept the person. We're not saying approve the behavior. Woo! I thought I just said some things there, right? Quickly write that down. Accept the person without approving the behavior. Write that down. Let me see the fastest finger to put that out. Listen, you better invite your sister and your brother, because we're up for something serious today. I promise you. And you will wish you invited them. Your marriage counselor. Invite your marriage counselor. Your relationship coaches. Invite them on board. I honor all of them. But get them on board. Get them on board. Because we are up for something here. It will be wise for us to share ideas. I would like to hear from them. What they think. What they know. And all of that. So here's the game. Acceptance is the environment and the atmosphere that creates room for change. Can I say that again? Acceptance is the environment and the atmosphere that creates room for change. For those of you who are Christians, God accepted you before God began to change you. It is the sequence. You don't try to change people to accept them. You accept people and give them the right to exist, the right to express themselves. And it is in the atmosphere of acceptance that people begin to change. Everybody desires to be accepted. So highly successful couples create an environment that allows the woman to just be herself. She likes to play football. Let her play football in the evening. She likes to run. Let her run. Just create the environment that allows her to flourish. Create the environment that allows him to flourish. Acceptance. Beyond that, it is critical for you to know that highly successful couples, one of the things that, like I said, they look out for, that they practice, is acceptance. And it is that environment where they accept one another, they honor one another. 3 things they do: they accept one another, they honor one another, Number 3, they respect one another. You cannot have an atmosphere of acceptance without honor and respect. Please write that down. You can't have an atmosphere of acceptance without honor and respect. The proof of the presence of acceptance is that there will be honor. The proof that there is honor in a place is that there will be respect. Honor the person, respect his works or her works. You can't claim to accept me if you dishonor and you disrespect me. Okay, so why don't you score yourself now? In terms of accepting your partner, in terms of accepting people, for those of you who are married, in terms of accepting your partner, how do you think you do? How do you score yourself in terms of giving your partner the space to be herself or himself? How do you score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Truly speaking, have you created an environment that communicates acceptance, that makes your partner feel accepted? Or do you communicate rejection to your partner covertly or overtly? Do you make your partner feel he's not enough, she's not enough, and she has to be enough, he has to be enough to be accepted by you? Have you communicated to your partner a sense that the person needs to have enough, be enough, know enough, do enough in order to be accepted? Or have you accepted the person, haven't chosen to marry the person? Have you accepted the person and then create the environment for the person to be more, know more, have more, and do more? How does it operate? You want the person to have more, know more, do more, be more before the person is accepted, or you've accepted the person so the person can be more, know more, do more, and have more? Well, the second was what my wife did. She accepted me when I didn't have much, I didn't know much, I was not doing much, and I was not having much. She accepted me, created the environment for me to have much, and then for me to be much, for me to know much, and all of that. It is the environment. Woo! All right. Yes, accept, honor, and respect. It is critical. So I'd like you to score yourself. When it comes to acceptance, how well do you do? Then how well is your wife doing? Do you sense that your wife has truly accepted you? From the way she treats you, does she communicate rejection or acceptance? Score your wife on the scale of 1 to 10. How you think she does when it comes to acceptance. In the way she communicates it to you, how do you score her? The same thing with you, madam. Score your husband. Do you feel like your husband is communicating to you a sense that if you have more, whatever it is that you need to have more, maybe if you have more, then you'll be more attractive to him. Or if you do more, whatever it is he wants you to do more, then you'll be acceptable to him. Now, you need to take a look at that and say, does he communicate rejection to me? Hoping that if I do more and have more, then he will accept me more. How do you score him? Somebody said, I'm scoring him 0. What? Madam, 0 like 0? Please don't let your husband see it. I did ask you to put it on the screen. Is that all right? Don't put me in trouble. All right? Just score him on your sheet of paper. Don't score him. Wow. Don't score him before us here. All right? God bless you. Okay. Let's move to the second thing that you need to check. So I hope you have checked this. Second thing to check that makes highly successful marriages to be successful is what we call communication. Communication. Write that down. So if you want your marriage to be very successful, you want to become power couples, you want to be couples who are going to be very successful. Now please listen. The things I'm sharing with you are the things I have committed myself to in the last 19 years. Constantly working on them, improving on them, scaling up on a constant basis. Because I want a better home. I want a better marriage. So the next thing here is communication. All right? This is very critical. Somebody said I score myself 9. Wow, really? Somebody said I score myself 0.1 over 10. I love this person. Tobechuku, thank you so very much. Tobechuku said I score myself 0.1 over 10, but thank God I am learning. God bless you. That's what this class is all about. So please reach out to others. Send the link to them on your WhatsApp. Tell them join us now. I'm just on number 1. I'm just on number 1. Somebody said I score myself 10. God bless you until your wife scores you. You can score yourself anything until we see your wife score. Somebody said, what else do I score myself now? I'm seeing 0. All right. Hey, here's the point. Whatever you score yourself today, remember you can become better. I am getting better on a regular basis. It's 19 years and I'm still a work in progress. Listen, why am I teaching you this? So you can know what to measure success by. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So you can know what you are constantly improving upon. Many of us who are watching me, you are married and you don't even know the indices. You don't know what makes for a healthy marriage. So I provide money. I give food. What else do they want me to do? There's more to a successful marriage than providing money. There's more to a successful marriage than providing food. There's more to a successful marriage than giving your husband sex. There's more to a successful marriage than climbing a pole and twisting on a pole and twerking and doing all the stuff that they are fantastic, but there's more to a successful marriage. So my intention is to show you things that makes some of the couples you see who are very successful, who have kept their marriages for 50, 60, 70 years. And they have succeeded spiritually, succeeded maritally, succeeded in every way, not without bruises, but with dedication to constant improvement. The things they practice are the things I want to share with you. So you married a woman, you married a man, and you wake up, you don't even know what you are going to be improving upon. Oh, wait, I realize I'm not doing well in the area of acceptance. So let me start working on acceptance. I'm not doing well in the area of communication. Let me start working. So you see, you have something you can use to measure improvement and performance. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So highly successful marriages, one of the things they work on is communication. They don't talk at each other. They talk with each other. Highly successful couples don't talk at each other. They talk with each other. They don't instruct each other. They suggest to each other. Sweetheart, I'm thinking about this, planning to do this, and I thought I should share it with you. What do you think? So there is a sense of suggestiveness, not instructiveness. I hear Margaret saying, please let's share and share this broadcast, someone else will be blessed too. God bless you. That is the truth. Go ahead and share. You'll be saving a marriage. You'll be saving a marriage in the future, because a single will be well informed. Even after the broadcast, send the link out of this masterclass. So please take note. I want you to begin to ask yourself, do I talk at my partner or do I talk with my partner? Am I always instructive or am I suggestive? It is critical. Very successful couples, they don't talk at each other. They don't talk down on each other. They talk with each other. They don't use aggressive words to get attention. They use affectionate words to get attention. They use curtsies. Please, may I, thank you, can you, I'm thinking about this, what do you think? They use some of the most courteous words when they are talking to each other. They communicate honor when they communicate with each other. Nobody talks to the other person in marriage as though the other person is a prop or the other person is just a fool. They don't use words to destroy each other. They communicate. And in communication, they do three things. Please follow me carefully now. That's how we measure success in communication. Highly successful couples use three things to measure success in communication. Number one, they use their ability to speak clearly their minds. You clearly speak your mind. Instead of coming to say, look, I don't know why there is no food in this house. I don't know why there is no light in this house. No, no, no. There is no light. There is no food. That is the current state. What do you want? You are not communicating by talking about the problem. You communicate when you express your desires clearly. Hello, sweetheart. I will love it if we have light. I will love it if we have food in the house. Let there be clear communication. So highly successful couples, please take note, they speak clearly. They are very clear when they speak. Number two, they listen carefully. They speak clearly. They listen carefully. They listen carefully. In fact, they listen more than they speak. It is the proof of wisdom when you listen more to your spouse than talk. You are not considered wise because you speak. You are considered wise because you listen. So number one, highly successful couples, they focus on acceptance so that there can be communication. That's the second thing they do. And in communication, they don't talk at each other. They talk with each other. They also don't instruct, they suggest. They don't use commanding words. They don't use words like go and carry that something. Go, go, go. Like you are in the zoo, you know. When you are in the zoo, hey, lion, go, you know. You don't talk like that in marriage. You're not talking to animals. You're talking to human beings. You don't use commanding words. It doesn't make a man out of you that you are commanding in the house. That's not the proof of your masculinity. Masculinity is not measured by your ability to command your partner. That is not masculinity. That is what we call a contorted, distorted masculinity. A man doesn't have to be commanding to be respected. In fact, Sir, if you rely on using words, if you rely on using authoritative words to gain respect, it means you have no respect in yourself. You don't command respect in yourself by yourself. You don't command honor in your house. So you have to rely on force, either beating or words, using bad words to subject your wife or your partner, to bring your partner into subjection. We speak to each other with respect. We speak to each other with honor. All right? Number one, in proper communication, there is the part of speaking clearly. There is the part of listening carefully. And lastly, there is the part of negotiating cautiously. We negotiate cautiously. What that means is that after your wife has spoken, you will speak. Your wife will listen. When she was speaking, you were listening. And you don't interject. If you have a reason to disagree with what she said, note the point she made. Instead of interjecting, let her finish her line of thought. Then you can say, when you were talking, you said, repeat what she said. I heard you said X, Y, and Z, and you mentioned this which I am not in agreement with. Speak, let her listen. Let her speak, you listen. Then the two of you can come to negotiate in terms of how do we go about achieving this? How do we go? It might be her way, or your way, or our way. Whatever the case may be, whosoever's way is better, we go with it. As against my way must be the only highway. There are several times when we've had to make some decision in my family, and I thought, okay, this is the best idea. My wife came up with ideas that were far better and far superior than mine. So it's important that, yes, don't interject, take note, and respond later. Absolutely, Judge. Thank you for putting it that way. So I like you in the light of this. Score yourself. How do you think you've done? The way you communicate with your partner, are you communicating or commanding? Are you speaking clearly? Are you listening carefully? Are you negotiating cautiously? How do you think you've done? All right, let's quickly move to the third point now, the third checklist, because of our time. Teamwork. You're going to like this. Teamwork. Highly successful couples, they dream together, they plan together, and they execute together. Highly successful couple. This is by far one of the most important part of this whole teaching. Highly successful couples, they dream together, they plan together, and they execute together. It is critical, if you're going to be a very successful couple, that you learn the art and the science of working together, dreaming together, and executing together. Two are better than one. It is the wisdom of God. Solo performance can take your family very far. It is wise to carry your partner on board. And I understand that some partners can be very difficult. You will have to work on that. The reality is, the devil will never want to allow teamwork to foster in your family, to thrive in your family. Your assignment is to find a way to make teamwork to be very effective. Together, everybody accomplishes much. If you listen to Bill Gates, if you follow Bill Gates very well, one of the things you're going to find out is the fact that very early in their marriage, I was opportune to sit with Belinda Gates, Bill Gates' wife, I was opportune to be in a meeting with her in Chicago where she opened up for the first time to tell some of us about her life. And Belinda Gates made us to understand that as soon, she was also a software engineer. She was working in Microsoft when in her husband's company. She didn't know she was ever going to, be married to Bill Gates. She was just doing her business, minding her business. When Bill Gates began to call her and take her out and all of that, eventually it led to marriage. As soon as they decided to marry, Belinda Gates thought it necessary to say, listen, we're going to work as a team. We're going to raise our kids. So here's what's going to happen. I will give up my job so I can give attention to the kids, whilst you give attention to Microsoft. As a team, they work together. And when the time came for them to birth Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they also work today as a team. We call them power couples, where every party in the relationship knows where they are good at, and they focus their strength in that direction, so that the other party can focus on the area where one party is weak. And that's how they've been able to accomplish great success. No marriage will be successful to the max if the couple don't work as a team. And trust me, the devil will never want to let you function as a team. He will prefer to separate the two of you. He will prefer to have the two of you living in two apartments, driving two different cars, living in two different worlds, spending your money differently, pursuing your goals differently. Listen, and the devil will give the two of you justifiable reasons why two of you should not come together. The worst of it is for the devil to put in your life a so-called prophet of God who will tell you not to stay with your husband, not to relate with your husband, not to relate with your wife. It's so sad to see how prophets, so to say, are destroying families today. So it's important for you to recognize this. The devil will never want to let you function as a team. Never forget what I just told you today. Why? A house divided against itself, it shall not stand. How good and how pleasant is it for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment that flows from the crown of Aaron's head down to the skirts of his garment. There, God commands life, even blessings forevermore, in the place of unity. You cannot build anything significant in a state of division. United we stand, divided we fall. One will chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. It is the wisdom of God. Fight what is fighting against your unity. Fight what is fighting against your teamwork. You all have talents, abilities, gifts that can be brought together and maximize the potential of your relationship. But it is in the atmosphere of acceptance and celebration. So highly successful couples, they function with this tool called teamwork. So I'd like you to score yourself now. When it comes to working together as a couple, when it comes to working together with others, if you are single, how do you score yourself? Are you a solo performer? You always like being on your own. Even as a single person, you always like being on your own. You are in the midst of people, you go and sit down on your own. You are at home, again, you sit on your own. You always like to withdraw. And when given assignment, you always like to do it by yourself. You don't like to work with people. Marriage is about teamwork. Life is about teamwork. And the earlier you start moving out of your shell, the better. You can do small things by yourself, but you can't do big things all alone by yourself. You need people. You are watching me because somebody's behind the screen. There is a PowerPoint moving behind me. Somebody's making it happen. Some lights are here. Some persons are making it happen. I can't do this big thing all alone by myself. You can't do much So much. All alone by yourself. Embrace the wisdom of unity, synergy. Embrace the wisdom of teamwork. Understand that a team is not made up of similar people. Marriage is not the coming together of similar people. Somebody may like to snore, the other doesn't snore. That's not why we are married. There are things that make for our unity. Let's major on it. The things that make for division, let's keep it aside. So how do you score yourself when it comes to teamwork? I'm seeing some people scoring themselves 7. Somebody said my teamwork, listen, please listen to this. Somebody scores himself on teamwork. The person said, I am 0.000001 over 100. It's just my teamwork performance. This is so good. Listen, you can become better. All right, that's why you're learning this. Teamwork will never be successful until you recognize your limitation. Please write that down. Teamwork never works until you recognize that you are a limited species. Until you recognize your limitation. Until you embrace the fact that you alone, you are but a limited being. You are a limited resource. You see in a limited way. You can only do things in a limited way. Embrace the wisdom of synergy. Embrace the wisdom of more hands coming together to move more sands. More sand. Let me share with you the next thing that makes highly successful marriages to be successful. Faithfulness. Faithfulness. Now, this is how you sit down and measure and say, okay, look, what do I use to measure the success of my marriage? What are the things that I need to use to determine how well my marriage is becoming? The next thing is what we call faithfulness. All right? Faithfulness. Yes. Now, watch this carefully. Highly successful couples are faithful to each other, dependable, they are loyal to each other, and they are loyal to their vows and to their marriage. Please, very important. Highly successful couples, they focus on increasing their faithfulness quotient. They focus on building faithfulness for a long time. They focus on improving their faithfulness to their spouse, to their marriage, to their relationship. They are faithful. They are dependable. They are loyal, present or absent. Meaning, in fact, the farther away they are from each other, the more faithful they become. Meaning that my wife can truly trust in me when I am not at home. My wife can confidently believe that although I may be in the United States, she knows that her husband is committed to their vow. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't get tempted, but my commitment to my relationship will make me to walk away from temptation. I get tempted like you do. I get challenged like you do. But something keeps me going on. And that is loyalty. I'm loyal to my vows. I'm committed to my vows. So it is critical to know that highly successful couples, they focus on faithfulness, building faithfulness. You can trust them in the absence of their spouse. You can depend on each other. You are dependable. That your words are your bound. That if you are in the office, you are in the office. You know, I like watching cheetahs. My wife also likes watching cheetahs. And my wife has been praying that cheetahs will come to Nigeria. My wife is praying that cheetahs will come to Nigeria. You know, one of the funny part of cheetahs for me is the fact that somebody will be having an affair and the partner will call the person, and the person will be pretending like I'm at work, I'm on my way home, and stuff like that. Highly successful couples, they are faithful, very faithful, dependable, and loyal to their God, to their vows, to their spouses, and to their marriages. Highly dependable. So I'd like you to, why don't you just score yourself this time? Don't let anybody know that you are scoring yourself, because this is a very serious part of scoring yourself. How do you score yourself when it comes to faithfulness? How do you score yourself when it comes to faithfulness? How do you score yourself? How do you think you're doing? Have you been faithful to yourself? Have you been faithful to your God? Have you been faithful to your spouse? Have you been faithful to your vows, to your marriage? Have you been faithful to your family? How do you score yourself? Are you the type that under pressure you give up faithfulness? Are you the type that when you are tempted, your faithfulness is compromised? How do you score yourself on the scale of 1 to 10? I'd like you to put that there. And here, please take note. This is not to condemn. This is to say that faithfulness is what strengthens your relationship. Dependability, trust, that your partner can trust in you. The book of Proverbs says, a husband's heart can trust in her. Happy is a man whose heart can trust in his wife. Happy is a woman who can go to sleep and not be worried that her husband is browsing a pornographic site, her husband is doing masturbation, her husband is sleeping with some other girls in the name of going for conference in Dubai, in Ghana, and all of that. Happy is the woman whose heart can confidently rest and trust in her husband, knowing that this man is faithful, uncorrupted by money, that the coming in of money has not compromised your faithfulness quotient, that your faithfulness is not compromised by the availability of money and the power to afford anything you can afford. Yes, the Bible says in Proverbs 31 verse 11, the heart of the woman's husband can safely trust in her. In the same vein, the heart of the woman should be able to trust in her husband. I pray for you, sir, that in the name of Jesus Christ, money will not destroy faithfulness in your life. Money will not compromise faithfulness in your life. That no matter what you see, money, material, machines, exposure, experience, encounters, travels, none of that will compromise faithfulness in your life. All right? So, how do you score yourself when it comes to faithfulness? Single sister, single brother, today, you are talking to this lady. How about us getting married? Same day, you are talking to somebody else. Hello, sir. There is no faithfulness track record in your life. You are not married and you already have been infected with the virus of disloyalty. You've been infected with the virus of unfaithfulness. It is a dangerous thing to carry into marriage. Cure yourself of unfaithfulness before you ever get married. Otherwise, unfaithfulness will destroy your marriage. So if you're a young man, you are double dating, you are multi-dating, you are poly-dating, you are just a poly-dating guy. You know, you're just today with this one, you are chatting with this woman in London, you are chatting with this other one, you are in several chat rooms with women. It's like you are a gift you are a gift poured out, like you are in wine poured out to women. It's time to gather yourself together. And maybe you're also watching me. You're also the type today. You have different men for different purposes. There is a man who takes care of your house rent. There is a man who takes care of your car. There is a man who takes care of your clothes. There's a man who takes care of your ticket when you want to travel. You just have them in different places. If you are not faithful as a single, you're going to corrupt and destroy your marriage when you get married. Faithfulness is a key thing you must possess before you get married. All right. Let's get to the next thing to check. The next checklist. Is that okay? Let's look at the next checklist. It is called intimacy. Intimacy. All right? We're going to shake some tables a little bit here. Now, highly successful couples, they pursue intimacy with one another. Highly successful couple, they pursue intimacy with one another. Here's something I'm going to say from the word go. They don't wait for one another. They don't wait for the other person to initiate intimacy. Every person has the right to initiate intimacy. And there is no rejection when intimacy is communicated. Meaning, whenever the man wants his wife, she makes herself available. The Bible says that what good is it when somebody comes to you and say, I have need of this, and you tell the person, come tomorrow. Couples understand what I mean. The Bible says when it is in your power to give the person now, why tell the person come tomorrow? Paul the apostle puts it this way. He said, because you are married to each other, you do not have the right over your own body anymore. So don't defraud. In fact, Paul calls refusing to give your partner your body a fraud. It is a fraudulent thing to reject your partner, refuse your partner when you are not sick, when you do not have any physical disability, when there is no medical reason why you should do so. Paul considers that fraudulent. Because you gave the person impression before marriage that this is what you will make available in marriage. The Bible says you do not have the power over yourself. So highly successful couples, they pursue intimacy with one another. They focus on satisfying one another emotionally. Satisfying is the key word. That you satisfy your spouse. You satisfy your husband. You satisfy your wife. Find a way to do it. Learn how to do it. If you don't know, get training. It's not a bad thing to learn how to satisfy your spouse. There are experts out there that can teach you. Satisfying your spouse is a commitment you must make. Okay, so never forget this. One of the key indicators of highly successful marriages is intimacy. They give space and they come back and share space. They give space, they come back and share space. They give space, they come back and share space. Intimacy drives the stability of every relationship. Let me take it a step further. So how do you score yourself when it comes to intimacy? How do you score yourself? All right. Let's get to the next one, which is called protection. Protection. Highly successful couples protect one another from abusive or disrespectful friends or family members. Highly successful couples, they protect one another from abusive, disrespectful, and dishonorable friends and family members. So what that means is that highly successful couples make sure they identify, isolate, and eliminate anybody from their friends, from their families who disrespect their spouse. You cannot disrespect my spouse and stay within my space. It is the job of a man to protect his wife from being disrespected and being dishonored by your friends and your family members. It is not godly. It is not Christian-like for you to be a man who exposes your wife to being disrespected by your friends or your family members. It is not Christianly. The Bible says, love covereth the multitude of sins. Only to the extent to which it becomes necessary should you follow biblical ways of exposing pain in the marriage. Otherwise, the Bible expects that as a man, you cover your wife. You don't expose your wife to being disrespected. I will not take anybody who claims to honor me and disrespects my wife. You're not going to have me. Not in my family, not among my friends. I'm not going to have it. It's my assignment to protect a woman I took from her father. I promised her father before he died that I'm going to watch over her. My assignment is to protect that girl. And I've been doing a little bit of a good job for the last 19 years. My wife will not expose me to any of her family or friends who will dishonor, disrespect me for whatever reason. It is simply wickedness for you to expose your husband to your friends who will dishonor and disrespect him. Interest may connect you all together today. Tomorrow the interest will be withdrawn and your case will be the news in town. Practice disclosure with discretion. Everybody doesn't need to know what's happening in your life. Practice disclosure with discretion. Choose who needs to know, who has the right to know, and who doesn't qualify to know about your business. So when it comes to protection of your spouse from being disrespected and dishonored, how well have you done? Score yourself. You are going to exchange your papers later. And your wife is going to tell you whether you're telling the truth or not. Your husband will tell you whether you're telling the truth or not. And two of you can now begin to work towards achieving that. Responsibility. There's something else highly successful couples do. Highly successful couples, they carry out their responsibilities to one another. They carry out their responsibilities to their relationships. They carry out their responsibilities to their marriage and to their families. In essence, highly successful couples are highly responsible couples. Nobody dodges their responsibilities. Nobody runs away from their own responsibility. The wife carries out a responsibility to the max to her husband. The husband carries out his responsibility to the wife. They both carry out their responsibilities to their children. And together, they carry out their responsibility to society. In essence, highly successful couples are highly responsible couples. They are responsible financially. The woman does not take the money meant for family upkeep and use it to do some other things that are in the world of fashion. She is responsible with the management of family money. Yes. The husband does not call and like, hey, sweetheart, sorry, how's everything going on? Sweetheart, we need some money more. For what? How about the money I gave you? I don't know. I entered into the market and I saw they were selling wigs. It happened to be the latest wig and I didn't want to miss it. So I used it to buy that. No. You are responsible with family money. And the same thing, sir. The man is responsible when it comes to providing. The man may not be able to provide everything, but you carry out your role, which is to provide. Your wife can support, but your wife does not take the role. Be responsible financially. You don't carry family money and you go to gamble with it. That's gross irresponsibility. Be responsible sexually. Meet the need of your partner. Highly successful couples do that. Be spiritually responsible. As the leader of the house, as a husband, provide spiritual leadership. Model spiritual leadership. And as a wife, the same thing. The last but not the least is that highly successful couples are highly forgiving. Highly forgiving. They are quick to ask for forgiveness. They are swift to give forgiveness. Quick to ask for forgiveness. And swift to give forgiveness. They never repeat or rehearse whatever has been forgiven. Please take note. They never rehearse or repeat what has been forgiven. They don't talk about it again another time. They don't keep it to heart and say, that thing really hurts me. When somebody has said sorry, it is over. You know why? They forgive as they want God to forgive them. If God is to treat you the way you are treating others, how much forgiveness would you have received from God? How is it that you say you forgive him, but you've not forgotten? How is it that you still talk about it 10 years after, 5 years after? That thing really hurts me. I thought it was over. The right to be paid is the reason you will never be free from pain. Let it go. Forgive and move on. It happened. We all make mistakes. You do too. What gives you the right to make you think, I can't let go of that, what that person did? It was so painful. How about others you have hurt also? We've all wounded and hurt each other. Why is it that yours is the only one that cannot be allowed to go? How about what you have done to others too? How about what you've done to God? I'm out of time, but I'm not out of words. I'm sure you'll be able to look at all this 8 stuff. Somebody said, oh, Gao. I'd like you to look at all these things. It's what I call the Couples Checklist 8.0. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to be dealing with some other very serious issues when it comes to couples. Married couples. All right? If you have any question, the number will be pinned on the screen. You are free to ask me a question by sending your question to that number. Or if you have a question to ask right now, I have 60 seconds. If you can send me your question, go ahead and do it. Please, if you're watching me and you've not forgiven, forgive and move on. And stop rehearsing. Stop repeating. Otherwise, that's how you want God to treat you. And there's nothing anybody has done against you that you have not done worse to others. What makes you feel you have the right to hold on to pain and offense? Well, you have also wounded and hurt others in the past. Give it like you want to receive it. Did that make sense now? Give it like you want to receive it. I'm out of time, but I'm not out of words. God bless you. I love you so very much. I hope this has added value to you. I'm sure some of the things that I've said today has set you thinking. And I'm sure it's going to make your marriage better. That is our goal. That's our dream. To see your marriage become better. And see your children grow up in an environment where they can say, hey, you know what? My dad and my mom, they are my role model. What a word to hear from our kids. May the God of heaven be with you. I pray for you in the name of Jesus that your marriage will begin to get better and better. I decree and declare that every plot of the enemy to destroy this marriage will not prosper. There is something precious in this marriage. That's why it's been under severe attack. I hear the Lord saying there is wine in this cluster. There is a future in your marriage. There is a great potential in your relationship. Therefore, I pray for the wisdom and the grace to make this marriage become all it was destined to be. Receive such grace now. In Jesus' mighty and matchless name, we pray. Amen and amen. Do not forget what a moment we had yesterday at this morning during the prophetic prayer hour. Were you blessed this morning? We couldn't even finish our prayer. Remember, whatever has dragged on and on, drag it to the altar tomorrow morning. All of you in America, join us tonight. Americans, if you miss, I know it's past midnight, make the sacrifice and God will reward you. Join us tonight. Whatever has dragged on for a long time, drag it to God's presence where that thing will be terminated. Join us bright and early, 5:50 a.m. West African time. Tomorrow, past 12 midnight, if you are in the Central Standard Time in America, let's gather together to pray. And the God of heaven will bless you. I love you so very much. If you feel like you want to give anything, you want to be generous, you want to make any donation, contribution, the details are on the screen. If this has added value to you and you want to reciprocate with generosity, there's some details on the screen. You can use any of the account to give towards your marriage, towards the peace of your marriage, and towards your marriage to come if you're single. I love you so very much. I'll see you again and again. Until then, keep on keeping on.